In the near future, due to a collapsing economy, the government and the public get desperate for money, so they launch the California Grand Lottery scheme. In this, if someone kills the lottery winner before sundown, they get to take their jackpot. The only rule is not to use bullets. A few months later, Katie arrives in Los Angeles to restart her acting career. On the bus, she keeps staring at a keychain, which appears to be a memento. On a sign, Katie sees an advertisement for Lewis Protection Agency and wishes she had bodyguards like that. During the ride, she notices how everyone on the streets is tense or violent. In the meantime, the media can't stop talking about the next lottery drawing, which is happening in 18 hours with a jackpot of $3.6 billion. Eventually, Katie makes it to the room she rented and notices that her roommate Shady lied about the state of the place. The next day, Noel's bodyguard advertisement appears, offering his services to whoever wins the lottery. The next day, she takes a cab to her destination. The driver keeps making inappropriate comments about celebrities, mentioning that the famous rapper Machine Gun Kelly has his own bunker. When Katie makes it to the place, an employee charges her $400 to participate. Her audition finally begins, and she explains she was in many advertisements as a kid, but she had to pause her career to take care of her sick mom. After her mother died, Katie decided to try acting again. She reaches into her pockets for her notes and finds Shady's lottery ticket, which activates when Katie puts her thumb on it. Katie quickly puts it away and tries to act, however, she's immediately kicked out. In the corridor, the other actresses try to be supportive. Suddenly, all their lottery tickets activate, announcing that Katie has won. The actresses immediately attack Katie, and even the workers join the fight. Katie defends herself thanks to her stage fighting classes and runs away. On the next floor, Katie manages to hide while the actresses run off. However, she enters a self-defense class. As they attack, Katie runs around dodging their moves. She tries asking what's happening, but they ignore everything. Katie is punched and grabbed by her ankles. The guy whirls her around and throws her through a wall, making her land in a yoga class. Chaos takes over the room, where blood starts getting spilled. Noel suddenly bursts through the ceiling and saves her by throwing the guy at the wall. Then Noel announces Katie gets 5 free saves, but afterward his protection costs 10% of the prize. Katie has no choice but to sign his contract. Noel then ties her to his back and uses a belt to attack people. Once all the opponents are down, Noel makes sure to put the unconscious bodies in the right position so they won't choke on their tongues. He explains that the lottery drone, which is already outside, posts the winner's location every 14 minutes, so they must get going. So they get in his car and escape. As they drive through town, people receive an alert of her location and prepare to join the fight. Noel explains to Katie how the lottery works and is surprised that she didn't know. Katie points out she and her mom would only watch movies but never the news because they were depressing. Soon the car is being chased by people on bikes, so Noel brings out helmets before speeding up. A Molotov is thrown on top of the car and the roof catches fire, but Noel keeps on driving to put it out. Suddenly, he turns the car and a biker crashes against it. Katie wants to quit the game, but the only way to do so is to leave the city. Noel shoots a guy with his dart to bring him down, then he drives in a circle to create dust that allows them to escape. Katie keeps insisting she wants to quit, so Noel agrees to take her to the closest quit line. Suddenly, an enemy jumps into the car through the back window and bites Noel's arm. Noel asks Katie to drive and moves to the back seat to kick the attacker out of the vehicle. The bikers throw another Molotov, and Noel forces Katie to drive through a wall to escape. They then try to leave, however, the car barely moves before it breaks down. Katie comes out and tries running away, however, Noel stops her. He explains he gets no money if she quits, but still wants to help her because they must treat people the way they want to be treated. At that moment, a police car appears and Katie goes to the cops for help, however, the officers want to kill her too. On the street, Katie hides her face while the crowd notices the drone nearby and starts searching for her. She goes into the wax museum and is surprised to hear the guard is anti-lottery, so he lets her hide among the statues. Then Katie calls Shady and requests to borrow her car. Shady keeps asking Katie where she is, causing her to realize Shady is playing too. Afterwards, Shady and DJ try to enter the museum and knock out the guard. Katie hears them and hides behind a statue, however, when she tries to sneak away, she's seen. DJ and Shady immediately attack her. The fight continues in the horror room where they grab props to attack Katie. After a lot of struggle, Katie runs out as Shady throws an axe at her. Katie presses a button to bring down the shutter, but soon fixes the guard's body so he doesn't choke. A tour bus guide immediately sees her and announces on the microphone. Before the attackers can reach her, Noel appears in a police car and takes her away. As the tour bus keeps hitting the back of the car, Noel wishes they had a bunker, and Katie remembers the taxi driver. Soon they show up at Machine Gun Kelly's house. At that moment, the bus appears, so Katie forces him to open his panic room. Katie and Noel rush inside and put Kelly to sleep with a dart before trying to close the door. The room is fully equipped, and they can watch the crowd on the security camera. Katie keeps the gun aimed at Noel, so he sits by her side, and suddenly the keychain falls from Katie's pocket. Noel says it looks cool, and Katie opens up. She chose to become an actress for her mom, who loved movies. Her mother gifted Katie the keychain to remind her she would be proud of her no matter what. When she was younger, she made good money as a child actor, but her dad ran away with all of it. Noel comforts her, so Katie gives him back the gun. Outside, the crowd continues to hit the door, but to no avail. Shady drags Kelly into the pool and threatens him into sharing the door password. All this is seen by Noel, who gets angry because he has no choice but to make a call and ask for a favor. He orders a phone strike and puts Katie's phone inside his safe. The crowd then freezes when they hear all their phones ringing. Suddenly, their phones start exploding. As everyone deals with their burns, Katie and Noel come out to escape. Outside, a bunch of guards are waiting with rubber bullet guns. They only want to take Katie, but she forces them to bring Noel as well. During the ride, Katie asks if Noel works with these people. He explains he used to, but nowadays he's a freelancer. Moments later, they make it to headquarters and Katie meets Lewis, learning this is his security company. She isn't impressed by him because he keeps mocking Noel, however. Lewis gifts her a new phone and points out she's in the safest building. He also shows off the grenades in his pocket. With only 4 hours left, Lewis gives them a tour and shows them the wall with all the winners they saved. Lewis explains they charged 30% and Katie signs the contract. Afterward, they see on the security cameras that a crowd is gathering outside, so Lewis decides it'll be safer to move Katie to a hidden underground fortress by using decoy vehicles. First, the duo gets medical care for their wounds and Noel shares more about himself. He used to be a mercenary in the private sector with Lewis, and their unit got sent all around the world to kill people. One day, Noel discovered his victims weren't always bad guys and he quit in the middle of a job. This caused the mission to fail, so only he and Lewis survived. In return, Katie shares that her dad used to be her manager and made her work all day long since she was 8. When she turned 18, she told him she wanted to manage her own money, so he disappeared with it. At that moment, an employee brings a prosthetics machine. Katie puts her face inside, and the machine applies a mask that makes her look like an old man. However, Noel is worried because moving Katie out doesn't make sense and this facility is too expensive for Lewis. After Katie changes clothes to finish the disguise, Noel finally realizes Lewis is only pretending to protect the winners to kill them in secret. Lewis takes them to a car and Katie keeps requesting for Noel to come along, which Lewis turns down. Getting desperate, Katie kicks him and Noel uses the distraction to open the garage door. Then he shoots all the guards as the crowd rushes in, but they don't recognize Katie. Noel drags her out and gives her the keycard he stole from a guard, telling her to run while he buys some time. More guards appear and hold Noel down while Lewis kicks him for information. Suddenly, the decoy cars take off with Katie hiding in one of them, so Lewis sends his people to follow them. Meanwhile, social media is going wild because the drone has lost Katie, so if she doesn't make any mistakes, she'll be safe. Moments later, Katie is about to leave town but gets a call from Lewis, who tells her to turn around or he'll kill Noel. After some hesitation, Katie turns the car around and agrees to meet. Meanwhile, Lewis takes Noel to an old theater and reveals that during their mercenary days, he always knew they were killing civilians. He never cared because it was easy money and admits that he doesn't like to share, and that's why he killed their team while making it look like it was Noel's fault. With only 15 minutes left, Katie gets a gun and rushes inside, finding Lewis and Noel on the stage. She threatens to hurt herself so nobody gets the money, but Lewis doesn't believe her, so Katie points out he'll kill her anyway. Katie starts ranting about the awful state of her life and almost pushes the trigger. However, Lewis finally asks for a deal. Katie pretends she's about to give him the gun, but kicks him off the stage instead. With Lewis out, the other players immediately start coming after Katie again. Suddenly, Lewis grabs her leg and makes her fall before trying to kill her. A cop tries to help, however, Lewis kicks him off and continues to struggle against Katie. At that moment, a crowd bursts in, so Noel starts fighting them while still cuffed to the chair. Katie bites Lewis and disarms him before throwing the keys at Noel, who finally frees himself. While Noel fights Lewis, Shady appears with a sword to fight Katie, who quickly disarms her with a headbutt. With only 4 minutes left, a huge crowd suddenly enters the theater. Noel is still fighting Lewis, so Katie has to climb the stage decorations for safety. Lewis steals an axe from another player, but Noel finally defeats him. Then Noel starts breaking the decorations so people can't follow Katie. Lewis' men arrive and half of them make a human stair for Lewis to climb while the others tackle Noel. Lewis reaches Katie on the scaffolding and they start fighting. Katie hangs on the edge and reveals she used her keychain to activate one of his grenades, which then explodes. Katie falls, but her fans appear and catch her just in time. As the countdown reaches 0, Katie hugs Noel and promises to pay him 50%. The lottery people come to give her the check, and she announces she doesn't want to be an actress anymore. 6 months later, Katie and Noel are working together on a bunch of charities like a free protection agency, a school of self-defense, and a center for kids with bad parents. And this is how the movie ends.